The primary election is in full swing in Wisconsin. We heard from City Clerk Caitlin Bernardi in Wausau that polls were going to be busiest around this time.
But before you head out to the polls, you might want to check that you have everything that you need. She learned what voters will bring to the polls. Bree, what can you tell us?
Cassandra, it's actually a little bit different depending on if you haven't registered to vote. Usually you just need to show some form of ID in order to vote. This can be a driver's license, voter ID card, or even a passport. But when it comes to registering a name change or an address change, there are some extra steps.
They would need a proof of residence document that ties them to that address they're trying to register to vote at. So again, it could be a driver's license, or it could be like a utility bill, a bank statement, credit card statement. Any of those are common.
The turnout for this primary has been average, but Bernard says that this is normal for this type of election. The Armory has now reached over 730 voters, and the line was longer than an hour ago. Polls are still open for 3 more hours, so you still have plenty of time to cast your vote. Elections are always needing poll workers, and I'll explain to you what you need to know about helping out coming up at 6. In Wausau, Brianna Weaver.
Okay, first of all, apologies. I realize it's now 5 and not 4.
Time flies when you're having fun.
Right. Today's primary has several voters across Wisconsin considering candidates they typically would not have before.
New legislative district maps signed into law in February after a Supreme Court ruling displaced some incumbents, including right here in north central Wisconsin. 7 Investigates
sat down with the candidates in one of those districts that now has 2 sitting representatives currently on the ballot. Emily Davies, how has that dynamic played out in the 86th Assembly District?
Representatives both say it's been a tough campaign season. We have Trin Spindler, who is a fresh face in the race, Representative John Spiros. Is the current incumbent of the 86, but 69th Representative Donna Rosar lives in this new 86, and she says she's not done legislating. Take a look. Both Spiros and Rosar live in Marshfield. So if you look at the old district, it kind of split it in 2. Now in the new district, it completely keeps that city all together, and the land mass grows. So we have more in the Marathon County district, as well as dipping into Portage and Wood County, whereas before it was mostly in Marathon County. Now, I spoke with all 3 candidates about why they're running and how they would handle certain topic issues. They each have different things they want to focus on. Spindler got into this race because she is passionate about solar and wind farms and their impact on agriculture. It's too long of an answer for our broadcast, but she has given presentations about why she thinks those options are bad for Wisconsin.
I never wanted to get into politics. We're really happy just dairy farming. Yeah. And it just got to a point where they're pushing this so hard we could not, let it go. We had to do something.
Now, farming and this very specific issue are her wheelhouse, and she plans to keep fighting the issue even if she does not win tomorrow. Now, Spiros has held the 86th seat for 12 years and is the chair of the Criminal Justice Committee. He says his biggest focuses looking ahead are on public safety in schools. He talked about a bill introduced last session.
It's technology to identify guns before they get into the building or weapons before they get into the building. That was pulled out of the budget, worked extensively with law enforcement and schools to try to get this in. So I would still like to see that go forward.
Now, clarifying on the topic of guns in particular, he confirmed he is in favor of identifying guns before they get into school rather than making changes to gun access. Rosar has had 2 terms in the Assembly, and she's setting an 8-year term limit for herself. She is the vice chair on the Assembly Health Committee. One bill she'd authored last session didn't pass. It extends the postpartum benefits for women on Medicaid from 60 days to a whole year.
I know that there's some question that that's an extension of Medicaid benefits, and I don't disagree that it does, but I know the...
Okay, hold on. Did I go that whole half hour with nobody telling me my sound was off? I just saw the mute button. I got to tell you this, and Christopher, thanks for letting me know. I don't know when I hit that. I love this microphone, but the one thing I dislike about it is that the mute button, it's like not obvious at all when the mute button is on. And I've heard other people complain about it, but otherwise the Shure mic sounds really great when that doesn't happen. Anyway.
Cardiovascular complications that can happen postpartum. So that's one thing that I would like to continue to fight for.
Now, she says the bill passed 32-1 in the Senate, and she wants to see 3/4 in the Assembly. All of the candidates had a lot more to say. I'm working on a story for our website, so you can check out their answers and learn more about them. Coming up at 6, another district was impacted by redistricting in a whole different way. We see the new 87th and meet the Republican candidates hoping to make it on to the general election.
Well, let's skip to that one now that I have sound again.
You'll want to take a close look at your ballots tomorrow. After the Wisconsin Supreme Court ruled on the legislative redistricting maps, you may not have the same candidates you're used to seeing on your ballot.
Some districts have drastic changes while other moves are a little smaller. 7 Investigates' Emily Davies first showed us the differences in the maps back in February. But Emily, you've talked with some candidates who are having to adapt to those changes?
Yeah, Jeff, one of the biggest changes is this 87th Assembly District. It's nowhere near where it was before, and the incumbent now is in a completely different district. The new 87th will move into several other districts. You can kind of see it's grown over here. The 85th is one that's been a lot impacted. That is this tiny little blue circle right here. And just outside of that is Representative Pat Snyder's house. Now that's where he lives in Schofield. He said he is sticking with his 85th and he is going to be running for that seat to keep it. So that leaves this seat wide open for a completely fresh set of faces. There are 3 people running, 1 Democrat, William Swetala, and 2 Republicans, Mosinee Mayor and Marathon County Board Supervisor Brent Jacobson, and Wausau School Board member and Rib Mountain trustee Corey Sillers. Swetala told us in a statement he's looking forward to the November election and feels at home in the 87th. He enjoys the political process and getting things done, saying he knows he's good at it. Now, I sat down with the Republicans given the contest, asking about who they are, why they think they're the best candidate, and how they would handle certain topic issues. Since it's getting to be back to school time, we know districts are facing teacher recruitment and retention issues, and while it's a community issue, they are also tackling the youth mental health crisis. I asked how they would use their power in the legislature to help address issues like these. Siller says he doesn't have a specific answer right now.
I've asked the questions and tried to begin those discussions to see what is the correct role of the state and can the funding formula be adjusted to fix any of these problems.
Sillers talked about how he did not approve raising teacher salaries in the Wausau School District if the money's not there. He emphasized local control, including leaving funding decisions up to the voters, like referendums, and asked whether it's appropriate for the state to fund everything. He's in favor of school choice and the tax money following the student. Jacobson saw a variety of avenues, but emphasized it's about fiscal responsibility and management at the local district level.
There are things we can do at the state level, and I guess my overall theme and my message is if we're going to be sending more money, let's make sure it's being spent on what we're being told the problem is.
Sin noted more money under both Walker and Evers administrations, crediting the Republican legislature. He advocated for more accountability with the money that gets allocated to schools. He also wanted to look at whether the specific issues mentioned, the teacher retention and youth mental health, were only issues at the individual district level or if they were broader problems at the statewide level. Now, there is a lot more to the answers on education as well as other topics. I'm putting together a story for our website so you can hear from them directly. You'll also be able to find my sit-down interviews with the Republican candidates in the 86th Assembly District there too.
Right. It's eerie.
Interesting stuff. Well, now you guys can hear me, so. Oh, I can't believe we went a whole half hour and no one like commented that there was no sound. I just went back and checked. There's been, I don't know how long there's been no sound, but it's been a while. Yeah, so I keep refreshing, no results yet. I thought this story looked kind of interesting. I don't think this was I don't remember there being a town of Summit by us, but.
Meanwhile, the Douglas County Clerk's Office today announced an error that means certain votes won't be counted tonight.
Now, voters in the town of Summit, just south of Patterson State Park, received misprinted ballots. Their ballots should have included Assembly District 74 races due to newly redrawn district maps. Instead, they say the 73rd. Leaders say the mistake impacts both in-person and absentee voters. Summit has about 700 registered voters. Residents are encouraged to go to the polls as normal. The clerk's office says they don't plan to issue corrected ballots or other remedies. Anyone with questions can contact the clerk's office. We have that information on our website. The race impacted by the error is Republican primary in District 74 between incumbent Rep. Chance Green and Scott Harbridge. We reached out to those candidates for comment about the error, but have not heard back.
It's eerie.
In case you're wondering, that is the town south of Oconomowoc, so kind of like Milwaukee, Madison area. Yeah, that would be west of Waukesha, probably about 5-6 miles south, or I'm sorry, west. I actually had a girlfriend who lived in Oconomowoc, or her parents was from Oconomowoc anyway. Yeah, there's Milwaukee, so. I don't know. I just thought that was kind of an interesting story. We can check to see if there's any. Yeah, they still got nothing across their board. We do have some question, prohibit legislator from delegating appropriations. So far, yes. And question requiring legislative approval for federal funds. That is yes as well. So I've heard a lot of talk about this. That was pretty interesting stuff. That seems to be the only one that has any kind of counts in yet so far. Oh, and for U.S. Senate, I think this is really early results. That's weird. I don't see anywhere where they're saying like how many votes are in. They do for these all have reporting percentages, but these don't. These ones that actually have results don't have any of that. But whatever results these are counting, whatever percentage, Eric Huff does. Got a big, huge lead. Oops, we need to not switch that over. So yeah, Eric Hovda, I think that's probably, I know this is like a really early result, but I haven't even seen anything about these other two fellows, so I think Eric's probably going to win that. Hard to say with this one, we don't know yet. Well, so now that we can actually talk about it, let me go back through. So I was talking about this race. I should have kept that up. I was talking about the Marathon County Clerk race, and I think this is the most heated of any of the races that are on the ballot, which kind of surprised me. Usually the county clerk isn't a race that gets a lot of attention or a lot of controversy, but I don't know if I've even covered a contested county clerk race before, not that I can recall. So kind of interesting. And so it's between Tasha Ranallo, who's on the left here, and Kim Trueblood, who's the incumbent, on the right. And yeah, I'm just going to go back through these because apparently my sound was off at the very beginning. Yeah, I thought this one was pretty interesting. Now, what this represented is there's apparently a big divide amongst the Republicans in the county. There's kind of a big split between people who approve of what Kim Trueblood is doing as county clerk, which as far as I can tell, she seems pretty neutral. And it's interesting because so when she was first elected, or first appointed, I should say, in 2019, there was a big push between some of the left-leaning county board members to not appoint her because of some of the stuff in CCAP that came up. There was some problems paying bills, and people said, well, this is going to be the county clerk. I don't know that that's something we should endorse. And there was enough votes that she got through, but I don't remember any Republican opposition to her at the time. And then there was a bit of controversy early on with COVID lockdowns. There was the parent group trying to get the Wausau School District to reopen its schools. And Kim had commented something about offering, saying, hey, I'm here to help you, which, you could interpret that as her just being helpful, generally helpful, which is what the clerk is supposed to do. But you could also, and some people did interpret that as showing political bias. I think she got a little bit of a talking to for that because people didn't think it was fair. Let me just refresh here to see if anything's in. And then more recently, she had challenged some signatures by one of the right-leaning county board candidates, and she challenged enough signatures and upheld other challenges that the person wasn't going to make the ballot. That was Joanne Eaglekraut, and Eaglekraut appealed it, and she won. She reversed enough of them. I think it was like one or two she was able to reverse that gave her enough to actually get on the ballot. She ended up losing to Corey Hart, but at that time, that's when I started getting some pushback that people were saying that Kim wasn't really a Republican, that she was out to help, that she was a Democrat, which I thought was a strange reversal going back to 2019. And so I assume that's where a lot of the support for Tasha Ranallo came in. So one thing I will say is this photo that she sent me got a lot of commentary. People thought it was really strange that she sent like this stylized photo. I thought it was from the app called Prisma, which makes like it can make like a painting out of your photo, or some of the other different interpretations. That's what it looks like to me. But either way, it's like really strange to use this kind of photo for your candidacy photo. I thought it was sort of odd. And so I thought like, well, I'll just put out what people sent me. That's the way they want to represent themselves. I've never given people advice before on, because some people have like a professional photo done, like this one on the right from Kim obviously was. This looks like she went to a studio. Some people it's like basically they'll take like a cell phone selfie and put it up there, or they'll have their wife like just take a kind of a random photo of them. And I didn't think it was really my place to like give candidates advice on, how they should make their photo look. So I didn't say anything. I just ran it, and people can make up their mind. It's their right to put this out there. One of the things Tasha said is she kind of accused Kim Trueblood of not being transparent and open and responsive. And I have to say that that has not been my experience as a journalist with Kim. She's been pretty solid, and I'm not endorsing any candidates. Obviously, I actually don't even vote in elections that I cover. I basically I just feel funny about it. I've never felt good about voting in an election that I cover. It's not against the rules. It's not against ethics. I just personally I don't like the feeling, because it feels like then I must, if I'm going to choose a candidate, it feels like then I'm kind of rooting for it. So I just don't vote. I let you guys decide that. But yeah, but that being said, yeah, I haven't really had a problem with her, and I can't say that about all the clerks in the county. I'll tell you that much. I cannot say that about all the clerks in the county. Some clerks have been not great to work with, and that's all I'll say. But Kim has always responded to me. She always gets back to me right away. I really like what she did with I'll show you guys this candidate tracker, where you can see all the people who have ran for office. This is super helpful. This is super helpful for me as a journalist. And the city did this too. Caitlin did not keep up with it nearly as well as the county clerk did. So this kind of stuff, like, I like to see, and I'm glad she did that. So I've kept a pretty good relationship with, and I try to keep a good relationship with the clerks in general. I'm just going to take a little break to see if we have any results. Not yet. Let's see what they got. Yeah, it's interesting that they have this one pulled out. Like, this is the big one, I guess. But yeah, nothing yet. So anyway, obviously, so I ran this thing, and after I ran this, that's when I started really hearing stuff. Well, this is the story. Yeah, this is the story here. So first off, there was accusations against Kim Trueblood that she had a warrant out for her arrest, and I got this Truth Finder email that other people got as well. And I can't really quite explain it, but it had like sort of a stub of an email from Tasha underneath. Now, I noticed that the Daily Herald, when they had a correction saying that the source of the email, that they misreported that in their first version of the story. So they might have said that she forwarded it. It didn't look like a forward exactly, but it had her, like, a stub of her email attached to it. So made it look like she had some involvement in it. I don't really fully understand it. It's one of those weird email things that you're not quite sure, like, why this is lining up the way it is. But what it turned out to be is Kim had driven, this is like 16 years ago, Kim had driven 36 and a 35. The cost of the ticket was like $144. The original thing said it was thousands of dollars, and that she faced a warrant for her arrest. When she says when her husband called to pay it because she was in a committee meeting, that the clerk said they had never really sent a notice out, and that they don't see these tickets as very important. So I don't think there was a warrant for her arrest out there. But then on the other side, I was given some information about Ronaldo that she hadn't punched in a while. And I got the actual punch data that someone had dug up that said she hadn't punched in since June 26th. Now, I asked the county attorney, Michael Pierner, the corporation counsel, about this, and whether she was on administrative paid leave, because that's the thing I had been passed on to me. He said they didn't comment on personnel inquiries, but did confirm that she was still an employee of the county. So I asked Ronella about this. I said, well, hey, I got this punch data. It says you haven't been punched in since June 26th. You know, what's the deal there? And she told me the story that she had gone to this leadership meeting of some kind, or some kind of meeting. No, it was a leadership meeting on May 21st, and it was at North Central Technical College. And afterwards, she had circulated some papers to get people, basically solicited people to get them to sign her papers. She believed it was after the meeting was over, it was off-site, so she thought she was in the clear to do this. They had a meeting with the human resources director, who did not share that opinion and believed that she should not have done that on work time. Ronaldo says she doesn't think it's on work time. And this one too, I don't know that she's wrong, and it seems weird to be on paid leave for that long. To be on paid leave since June 26th, and I don't know if this was resolved, but as of August 7th, it wasn't. So, yeah, and she had 4 county employees sign her papers. Apparently they had a big fight in this meeting, and eventually she just got sent home. And that's where that stands. So I don't know. It's been a strange race, that's for sure. And it seems to indicate that there's a pretty big split amongst Republicans right now between, and this has been one of them. The other one I heard was the 87th district. I heard there's a big split between people who are supporting Corey Seilers and people who are supporting Brent Jacobson. Well, we got some results on channel 7, so let's see what we got here. Nothing for the stuff that we care about, like I really want to see how this clerk race goes along a number, but we do have, we got about 6.3% of the votes in for the prohibit legislator from delegating appropriations. Still in the yes column. I don't think it's quite as extreme as it was, but still, yes is still winning. But this is really low. This is really early on yet. And same thing for requiring legislative approval for federal funds. That's at 6%. And right now, 53.7% are favoring yes. That is 36,000, almost 37,000 to just under 32,000. District 3, well, Rebecca Cook is leading Katrina Shanklin with only 4.1%, and so that's not a whole lot. Now, Katrina Shanklin was the state assembly representative, basically for Stevens Point, that area. I can't remember what number that was. I'm not going to remember off the top of my head. I will say she was always a pretty big supporter of like the Stevens Point Journal when I worked down there. I always appreciated her willingness to. Oh, wow, we have so it's only 7% of the vote in. They've already declared Eric Hovda the winner because he's got 41,000 votes and everyone else has like 2,000. We'll see. Yeah, I'm kind of curious how this how this percentage will shake up. Oh, we got some more. And let me go back to the top. Nope, not in those. So now 7% in. This is still pretty standard. 45,000 to 39,000 and 43 to 37. No change in those. We had a few more. This one narrowed a teeny little bit. This was at 90%. Now it's 89%. But yeah, I think we can pretty safely say that Eric Hovda is going to be facing Tammy Baldwin this fall for for the U.S. Senate. Baldwin's going to be one of those candidates I think that's pretty tough to beat. She tends to get she gets a lot of independent support. I think she's brought a lot of money to the county and to the state. So it's kind of like back when Dave Obey was in Congress. He was just kind of a powerhouse, and he was pretty tough to beat. And ever since, interestingly enough, ever since he left, Democrats have not been able to take that seat. That has been Republican since Dave Obey left. Very interesting. So anyway, that's the Marathon County race, and I'm sure some more results are going to be coming in. But let's talk about. Let me talk about the other race, because that was one of the ones that I believe was silent when I was talking about it. And this is between Jen Seliger and Connie Beiersdorf. Connie Beiersdorf is the incumbent treasurer. She was elected last term, been 2020, and Jen is challenging her. Now, this one was interesting because, so for all these races, I reached out and offered a 15-minute interview. I said I would keep it short in the interest of everyone's time. Sometimes, kind of depends on the candidate, of course. Sometimes candidates ramble and they take longer, but at least I was going to give it the option that, yeah, if you only got 15 minutes, I am definitely here to oblige you. But one really important thing is that I do them all the same way. So I'm not going to do a 15-minute interview for somebody, for one candidate, and then let the other person write them in. That's absolutely not fair. And I really prefer to do actual interviews. I think it's really important to be able to talk to the candidates, get a sense of them, see how confident they are in their answers. I think that matters a lot. And, be able to offer some pushback if they say something that isn't true or sounds like it's not thought out very well, or if there's something they haven't thought about. But it kind of irritated me that when I reached out to Connie Beiersdorf, she said that she would only respond to written questions. And I explained, I said flat out, that's unacceptable, because I do these, I really aim to make these as fair as possible, which means I'm going to do the interviews the same way for every candidate in the race. And so I said, you can reach out and let me know about the interview, but otherwise I'm not doing the written one. That's not fair. It's definitely not fair to have one candidate have to respond to questions, a number of questions and follow-up questions and clarifications, possibly pushback. And then the other one just gets to write their answers and have time to think about them and have a very small set of questions. Of course, that's not fair, obviously. And I find it pretty disturbing that one candidate thinks that's an acceptable way to do things. But I hadn't heard from Jen either. So at one point I thought, well, I guess I'm just not covering that race. And then I emailed Jen again just to say, hey, just following up on my email. And she responded saying that the first email had gone to spam, but yes, she's going to set up the interview. So then I reached out to Connie again and said, hey, just so you know, I've set up an interview with your opponent. So if you want to get in and be covered, you have to do an interview. I am available. I'll make myself available at night or all weekend, anytime during the weekend. Just let me know. And she just reiterated that she would only do it written. And I said, of course, as I mentioned, that's obviously not fair. So no, let me know when you want to set this thing up. And never heard from her again. Well, and that's the first time. That is the first time, by the way, I have ever had. First time I've ever had a candidate refuse an interview. I've had them I've had them actually just not. I'll take that back. I've had them just not respond, but I've never had one say, I would only do a written interview. I won't do an actual interview. Like, that's crazy. That is absolutely the first time I've seen that. All right, looks like we got some results. Some more results. Let me see. So it looks like the gap has widened a little bit on this prohibiting legislature from delegating appropriations. It is now almost 60% in favor of yes, and almost 60% as well for requiring legislative approval for federal funds. So now we got almost 17% of the vote in for the first question and 15.5 for the second. And yeah, number 3, this is 37% in now. It's tightening a little bit, but Rebecca Cook is still leading Katrina Shanklin, with Eric Wilson in pretty far a distant third. Yeah, as I was saying before, Shanklin was pretty supportive of the work that we were doing. You think like all politicians, well, most politicians at this level, you know, at the state assembly level, like they're usually pretty good to work with. Yeah, I'll say Pat Snyder has been pretty good. He's always been, he'll always respond to me. Yeah, here we got breaking. AP declares Hovde the winner in GOP race for U.S. Senate. I'm kind of surprised we don't have. Well, there's they have to come in from a long ways though. For the Marathon County, but yeah, nothing yet for that. Do they have a story? This is the AP. Republican businessman Eric Hovde easily won Wisconsin's primary for U.S. Senate on Tuesday and will face Democrat Senator Tammy Baldwin in November. Yeah, like I said, I heard nothing about these. Oh, actually, was this the gal from? Oh shoot! You know what? I think this was the gal from. Wasn't she from UWSP? I got her name so I can. Rijani. Okay, I gotta look that up. Hold on. Oh yeah, yes, yeah. She went to UW Stevens Point to pursue a bachelor's degree in political science and a certificate in international relations. By the way, total side note, and I'll definitely be writing about this at some point in the Wausonian, but there's a very good chance there's a report that out of the UW system that suggests that UW Stevens Point might close its 2 satellite campuses, which are Wausau and Marshfield. I don't know if a lot of people know that yet. I just read a short little story about it today about someone kind of pushing back, but there's this report that says, and I wondered about it because they already announced 2 different UW campus closures. And when I looked at the enrollment, it was around 400 some students, and I'm like, that's where UWSP Wausau is. It's crazy how much that has changed. When I went to UW Marathon, which is now UWSP Wausau, there were well over 1,000 students. It was a lively campus. There was a lot of people around. It was a great way to earn your, get your GEDs or your general credits out of the way. I did some music there for a little while, then I switched over. Eventually became a journalist. Kind of went back to school actually at a later date. But yeah, I remember there was always like people wandering the halls. And then when I went back there to do this story about 3 years ago about the decline, it was like a ghost town. It was like there's like nobody around. It's crazy. So anyway, yeah, she had come from UWSP. Yeah, I almost forgot that she was running. I think that's probably part of the problem. I just don't think a lot of people would have heard of her. And this Charles Barman, I definitely have not heard of him. He kind of looks like Gandalf. But anyway, let's see if we got anything new. We still do not have anything from Marathon County. Get rid of some tabs here. Oh, wait. We got some results in, guys. I'm sharing it now. We got 70 of the 88 in. Let me just scroll down. Looks like Kyle Kilborn is leading Elsa Ray. I mean, a lot of these are just kind of boring because like they're not even like contested. So I'm just going to scroll through them. Yeah, we already know about Hovda. He did pretty well, obviously, in Marathon County, as he did elsewhere. Tom Tiffany, not a surprise. Yeah, it looks like Calvin Callahan leading Tom Meyer pretty handily in 35. I'm sure a lot of that is in Lincoln County, too. Pat Snyder, obviously not facing anyone. Lori Voss leading Karen Hurd in 69. Here we go. 86. We got John Spyros leading Donna Rosar with Trina Spindler coming in. Oh, actually, I'm sorry. John Spyros over Trina Spindler. He got 43.6%. And remember, all this not all in. We got 3 precincts still to report, but Trina Spindler at 29.5, and then 26. Donna Rosar in third at 26.6. That's interesting. And looks like Brent Jacobson pretty handily leading Corey Seilers, at least so far, with 77.9% of the vote to 21, almost 22%. Nearly quadrupling up on Seilers. All right, we're just going to county clerk. Oh, wow. Kim Trueblood leading pretty handily with still got 17 precincts left, but that's a pretty big margin. Yeah, so we got Kim leading 80.5% to 19.4%. We'll round up there. Also, Connie Beiersdorf, not as dramatic. And remember, we still have, we got 7. Hold on, that's 7. 9 plus, no, 17. That's what I said. Connie Beiersdorf at 65.8% basically, and Jen Sellinger at 34%. So yeah, not as stark as the county clerk race, but and Jennifer Lemmer with 12%. Obviously nobody, some write-ins, but I think none of these are going to be terribly interesting. What the heck is WGN? I don't even know what WGN is. I don't know that party. I was like, are we bringing the Whig Party back? Yes or no? Looks like yes in Marathon County of the delegation of appropriation power and allegation of federal monies. Tighter than the other ones, as I recall, but still there. All right, let's see how many precincts. So I think we can pretty safely say that, yeah, still 70 of 88. Let's go over to, yep, they got the same results as us now, and they're reporting that as well. That's pretty much what we reported. Same update. That's pretty quick. Good for them. Now there's 26.4%, and that is still really stark. A lot of people watching. Guys are quiet tonight. That's okay. Oh, this is a new one. 68. Assembly 68. We got Rob Summerfield over Cliff Taylor. That's only 10% though, so long ways to go on that one. I don't think this one has changed. This one, District 3. U.S. House District 3, 53% to 37%. Yeah, Katrina Shanklin's still behind. District 7, Kyle Kilborn over Elsa Durunko. Kyle is at, it's tight, and it's only 17%, so that's a pretty tight race. Only 1,000 between them, about 5,000 to 4,000. That, well, I guess it's not that tight, but tighter than a lot of the stuff we're seeing. Let's see, still no changes yet. This is the one we already saw. Yeah, so they're saying that's about 81% of the reporting. I try not to do public math myself, but yeah, I think we'll stick around a little while to see if more results come in, but I don't see those changing. I think we got. I can actually make these a little bigger too. We've only got 18 precincts left. I don't think there's enough votes to. Oh, that's Wisconsin Green Party. Okay, they call it Wisconsin Green. That's why. I was like WGN. I'm always curious what these write-ins are. When people write in, I know I had a friend who hated voting, hated politics. He only cared about Star Trek and movies. So his mom would make him go vote. So he would just vote for Captain Kirk. So Captain Kirk won a lot of local races. He was on the ballot, or he was on the write-in anyway. Wow, so they don't have anything for Brent Jacobson and Corey Silers, but we saw that Marathon County had results for them, so I think that's kind of interesting. Well, I'm going to try to go to 9 here, but it is a school night, so I think Elsa. So Elsa, my sister worked with Elsa once upon a time, I guess. Now it's just a matter of playing the refreshing game and seeing the rest of the results come through. So this is interesting, by the way. I'm going to put a little pause on there. So, and this is first off, this is not the picture that Kim had sent in, and then they didn't have a picture for Tasha. I'm kind of surprised about that. Although I'll say, like, I was kind of curious what she looked like, so I went to her Facebook page, and she has like normal photos, and they didn't, I probably didn't want to grab one from there, but I guess they didn't want to use her stylized one. It was pretty weird. Just probably kind of a poor choice, to be honest. See if they have any So what's going on with their live stream? Did they just
now
weather?
in its third year, Ukraine's farmers are shouldering the responsibility of feeding their people and keeping their economy.
Like, it's kind of weird to me that they're not. It's kind of weird to me that the local TV stations don't do this. Like, why am I the one who has to do the live stream? Not that I mind, it's fun, but it seems like this would be a really good opportunity for the TV stations to kind of have this. They could have this live stream going on right now. Well, in case you're curious, heavy rain arrives on Thursday, which will be fun since apparently we have this dragon boat race that I'm doing this weekend, and our practice is on Thursday. Almost got moved to Friday, but then that didn't happen. So, okay. Still 70 of 88. Yeah, it refreshes the size, unfortunately, every time I refresh it, but So 24,000 people voted so far. And this is interesting, 14,000 for Republican and 9,000 for Democrats. But if you're a Democrat, you didn't have much to vote on in this race. So it's actually kind of surprised they have that many. There's a couple. There's for number 3, Kilborn and Elsa Ray was one, but otherwise, yeah, there wasn't really much for people to vote on. Yeah, kind of interesting too that it says 70 of 88, but then like the precincts reporting say 71. Kind of interesting, I think. It's weird that they don't have that. They still have it blank for Corey. They must be using a different reporting mechanism. Yeah, I don't think with this with these referendum questions, I don't see those changing. They've been pretty much the same, pretty close to the same ratios since the single digit percentage reporting. So I don't know if West Politics has anything. Nope. Yeah, West Politics isn't what it used to be either. They used to have like really good information. They were like doing all these interesting stuff, and now it's just they've really cut back a lot. Yeah, sorry, this isn't the most exciting thing. Just refreshing, waiting for the results to finish. Yeah, we're gonna go till 9 o'clock. We might not get all the results, but I don't think anything's gonna change. This Kyle Kilborn, Elsa Ray DeRunco is pretty close, but for District 3 in Congress, but I don't even know if that's close enough to change. If this is 71 of 88, I don't think there's enough votes to reverse that, but it could get tighter at least. I'm not sure about this Callahan-Meyer one. That might change. And this one's hard to say because this is just the Marathon County portion. And so as you can see, there's like 3 districts that still could add to this total, but that's not the full total. Same with 87 with Jacobson and Seilers. But that was a pretty big deficit. So I don't see Seilers coming back from that one. And then, yeah, with County Clerk, I mean, her being this far ahead, and even Beiersdorf over Seliger, I don't think there's enough for that result to change. I don't think we're going to see that. So obviously Jennifer Lemmer is right in there. Yeah, while we're waiting, feel free to ask questions. Interacting with chat is a good way to pass some time while we wait for the results to update. No update there. Well, in case you care about Adams County Treasurer, looks like Cara Dolezal is ahead of Caitlin Sampson. I wonder if she's related to Rachel Dolezal. That's the woman who like claimed that she like basically turned herself black. I don't know if you remember that one. Apparently recently she became a teacher. Like she kind of disappeared from public life and became a teacher, and then some people sussed her out because apparently she was also doing some extracurricular activities on OnlyFans. We'll just say that, which I thought was a little weird. Like I thought at that point, like just leave her alone. She's not in the public eye anymore. I don't know why waste your time with that, but Yeah, otherwise this hasn't really changed. Callahan's still leading. We got 11% in. Callahan's still leading pretty handily over Todd Meyer. Just trying to look for some stuff that might have updated. Yeah, Lori Voss leading Karen Hurd with 26% in 68. Summerfield and Cliff Taylor. So some of these are kind of outside of our area because these guys cover the whole thing. Now this is interesting because this is with 66%. Spiros is leading Donna Rosar with Spindler in third. And remember, the Marathon County results had Spindler ahead. So Spindler did pretty good in Marathon County, I guess, but not overall. And I wonder, well, it kind of doesn't matter because either way, it had Spiros winning. So you don't get anything for second place other than maybe some props for later on, you know. Oh, here we go. I just updated. I wonder if. Nope. So that's the same. But yeah, the Brent Jacobson, Corey Silers one just. We did an update. I thought we just saw an update. About half the people voted in U.S. House District 3, so it's not impossible. It's not impossible. Only half the districts in, half the votes in districts, I would say, precincts. It's not impossible that this is reversed, but yeah, it looks like Katrina is probably not going to win this one. It looks like Rebecca Cook is going to win in U.S. House District 3. I don't know if did Katrina leave her assembly post to run? I think she did. So True Blood did warn me today that some of these outside, there was a few counties that had to bring in their results basically by hand. They had to drive them in, so that might be why they're taking a little while. I was really hoping for a sub 9 o'clock night. Meanwhile, okay, my animals are going crazy. Meanwhile, if you haven't already subscribed to the Wausonian, I highly recommend it. You can subscribe for free, or you can consider a paid subscription to get all the Wausonian stories, including we've got, getting real with real estate quarterly report that we run. Those are graphs that I put together, by the way. Our Wausau area tavern report, which I think is usually pretty entertaining. I do all the my goal usually with elections is other than some analysis stuff. I do try to keep those free. I want everybody to see the election stuff. And don't worry, I'm still checking to see if results are in. They are not. But yeah, you can see interesting enough, some of my most popular are also the ones that were paid. And it's interesting, when I did the Big Trouble in Little Cronenwetter series, some people accused me of being, on the left when I went after Katie Rosenberg's unattributed campaign ad that led to that pointed to a website that depicted drug use. Then I was on the right. Same with the ethics complaint against Community for All. Then I don't know if everyone just kind of disliked Chris Wood and his anti-Semitic nonsense. So I don't think I got any accusations on that one. But to me, a good story is a good story. It doesn't matter what side it's on. I don't pick sides. Yeah, well, I'll try to give it a little longer because I really want to see if more results come in, but yeah, it just doesn't look like there's much change. And you notice like none of these are declared, by the way. The only one we have declared so far is Erikovda, which I'm kind of surprised because I'm pretty sure you can declare this. I don't think there's enough votes that Tasha remaining that Tasha can win. I don't think so. Seems really unlikely. All right, I'm going to try to give it 10 more minutes I keep checking the updates. So we got about 11 of you. If you haven't hit the like button, I definitely appreciate that. You can subscribe to the Wausonian. I'm going to try to do more live streams, maybe like a monthly update. But definitely, like I enjoy doing these election night live streams. I think they're kind of entertaining, and it's interesting just to see how everything goes. I think it's fun. I think it's good for viewers. I don't get really anything financially out of this. Really, it's just kind of extra time. But I think it's interesting to. It's kind of exciting. I just want to see like what the results are going to be. It'd be cool if like they updated in real time a little more. Yeah, still no call on a lot of these races. We have channel 9. Give me a second here. But yeah, you guys are real quiet. No, usually you have more chat than this. Yeah, I'm just checking. I don't have it up on the screen, but I'm just checking to see if channel 9 had anything. Any updates? Not really. They didn't retweet anybody, any of their reporters or anything. Let's see. Boy, nothing. Yeah, I really think like the TV station should be having a live stream. Like they have the staff and they have the equipment to do it. They could do a way better live stream than me, frankly. Kind of curious about Village of Nelsonville referendum. Shall the Village of Nelsonville be allowed to exceed this limit and increase the levy for the next fiscal year? I bet people are going to say no. Yeah, so if you exceed your levy limit, you have to go to referendum, and the school districts have done this a lot. I haven't really seen a lot of municipalities do that. I haven't seen any around here really do that. I think they realize it's kind of unpalatable. All right, well, I'm seriously running out of steam. I'm going to give it a few more minutes. We're going to go to 10 after, and then I just got to call it because it is a school night. I do have to put a paper together tomorrow, and the Wausonian. Yeah, so speaking of the weekly Wausonian, you can get this in your inbox for free every Thursday morning. I put it really early in the morning, so it's right there for you. And you get stuff around Wausau and the greater metro, get business news, entertainment, we have sponsors. You know, you can find out some events to go to. Jana Planet. Oh, she's so good, isn't she? Jana Planet's really good. And the woodchucks, you know, the woodchucks. Hey, let's take a woodchucks break. Let's just make sure nobody's oh boy. Yeah, looks like the Madison Mallards are leading the Woodchucks in the bottom of the 9th inning. 8-3. And I heard this was a gotta win it game for them. They're in the playoffs. I actually watched the game on last Thursday. My sister and I went for my birthday and they were behind and they came back and won. So that was a lot of fun. It's really cold that night though. Yeah, and then they were in the playoffs. So they had the Woodchucks had a really good year this year. They had a really great year. They were way ahead in the first half of the season, so that clinched a playoff spot. The way the Northwoods League works is if you clinch the first half, either half of the season, you're automatically in the playoffs. But I heard they had to win this game. Let's just see, like yes, these are the results. So yeah, they won against the Kenosha Kingfish, but they lost Friday to the Kenosha Kingfish. So I think that's why this is a must win. Is this year? Yeah. Oh, regular season. Sorry, 2024 playoffs. Okay, here. Yeah. Okay, so they defeated the Mallards on Sunday, and then yesterday they lost 8-5. By the way, as a former sports reporter, you always put the winning score first. Never put the losing score first. That's a big no-no in sports. Yeah, so they got to win this one. Good luck to the Chucks. Let's go find that scoreboard. Did I tell you how many outs? 0, 0, 0, 0 outs. So apparently they haven't started playing yet. Switch back to elections if. Wow, they're really holding out on those results. Let's see if there's anything new here. Yeah, not much new now. We're just in a holding pattern. Looks like the Chucks got a runner on second, so that's pretty exciting. Yeah, look, 15 hits to 5 hits. That's crazy. And the Chucks had a couple errors. Interesting. All right, I'm going to refresh one more time. Shoot. Well, as you can see, no refresh. I'm getting past where I can stay up. So, well, guys, thanks so much for tuning in. I don't expect most of those results to change anyway. So I think we can pretty much call it. But thanks for joining me. Sorry about the sound earlier on. Like I said, this microphone, the mute button is in a very inconvenient. It's a place where it's really easy to accidentally press, but hard to see whether you pressed it. I should have had a cue where I was looking at the little mic isn't making the little waveform thing. I should have noticed that. But thanks for everyone who stuck with or tuned in later when we got the sound worked out. If you guys ever watch and there's no sound, feel free to tell me. Thanks to Christopher Weems for telling me about it. So, all right, I'm gonna check one more time. Nope. Okay. All right, guys. Well, thanks for tuning in. Be sure to check out the Wausonian for up to date. We'll have all the results in Thursday morning's edition. And thanks so much for watching. Have a good night and stay safe.